Let's all go to the movies.
All those moments will be lost in time.
What's up, Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe. I'm your host, as always, the kingpin of comic culture, C-Dubs, and I'm riding solo on this movie review. And as you can tell by the thumbnail, I went and saw Teen Titans Go to the Movies. And I can hear everyone out in the universe just collectively going, and I can hear and see DPZ fainting, okay, from sheer rage that I went and did this. Alright, so, let's just backtrack just a little bit before we get into the actual review. Huge comic fan, as you guys all know. I did watch the original version of the Teen Titans, if you will. I enjoyed it, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. There were things about it that annoyed the absolute hell out of me. I didn't watch it religiously. There are many episodes I probably have never seen, but I did like it. And I do not like the style that the Teen Titans Go TV show is in. But I've never seen the Teen Titans Go TV show, so I cannot judge the show at all. I did ask Dr. J and say, hey, is this movie anything like the show? And he goes, well, the movie's really just taking the best parts of the show, regardless of how few and far between those best parts are, and they're really highlighting it in the movie, he said. So I'll take it from him because I'm sure he's seen at least one episode, and I've seen none of the actual TV show of Teen Titans Go. So with that being said, the bar for me going in to see this movie is beyond low. Like, I have no expectations. I really was just going to see it out of obligation to let you guys know if you should go see it. And let me tell you, I'm sure you guys have already kind of picked up on, this movie was pretty awesome. There was a lot about it that was really good. It really took me by surprise. And when it all breaks down and boils down to it, this movie is really no different than Lego Batman. And I'm sure 90%, if not 100% of us enjoy Lego Batman. Now, I'm not a fan of taking a property and just totally bastardizing it and selling out, if you will, or dumbing it down just to appeal to a younger audience. Younger audiences don't need just belligerent noise, if you will, kind of like SpongeBob, and no offense to anyone who's a SpongeBob fan, but for the most part, in a lot of ways, it's just belligerent noise to entertain your kids, to entertain kids if you watched it when you were a kid, and that's totally fine. It's no big deal. It has its place. It's one of the biggest cartoons of all time. I've even watched a few episodes, and it came out well after I was in the age bracket to really enjoy it or appreciate it. And I did have a decent amount of time with a few episodes that I have seen. So, but I'm not a fan of doing that for the sake of doing it. Children, to be honest with you, are a lot smarter than adults give them credit for. They can follow along in storylines a lot better than we think they can. And to add, it's kind of insulting and scary that this is the type of stuff we want to give our kids to, it doesn't help them grow in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion. But this movie was really good. There was a lot more for it, I think, for adults than I think there was for children. Other than the animation style and how quick things moved around and the bright colors and some of the really crude potty humor, the rest of the film really does stand out for adults. There are a ton of pop culture references. There are a ton of comic Easter eggs and comic references of old obscure characters and old obscure situations and storylines. And there was adult humor, just, kind of type of humor that flies over your kid's head, or humor that you hope your kid at the end of the movie doesn't go, what was so funny about this, or what is that, or what did he mean by this, if you will. But it's there and it works. I had a good time with this regardless of how shocking it is. It wasn't good enough to make me watch the show, but if I happened to catch, be flipping through channels and there's an episode on, I may give an episode a shot. But I doubt that it would absolutely blow my mind like this movie did. Now, that being said, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I recommend the universe to go see it. But a part of me also says, leave your kids at home. If you're not old enough to separate and understand the source material, a part of me wants to say, don't go see this movie. And what I mean by that is, I am someone who grew up watching the Super Friends. I love the Super Friends. I think it's awesome. I understand how cheesy, bad, and campy it ultimately really is. And we all know that the detriment Aquaman faced thanks to that show. Even though initially they didn't start out trying to make him this bumbling fool or the laughingstock of the Justice League or the Super Friends, if you will. But ultimately, as time went on, because of that cartoon, Aquaman has suffered. Now, if you're in the know and you know comic books and you read comic books and you're a fellow geek nerd like me, DPZ, Dr. J, and the rest of the universe, then you know Aquaman is an absolute badass. He's one of the greatest characters DC has ever come up with. He is one of the greatest Justice League members, Super Friends members, whatever you want to say. He is a good character. But consistently, pop culture has referred to him and treated him like a laughing stock, even though he rules over the majority of the damn world. Okay, this guy has more, he has to protect more life and more actual circumference of the world than any other hero has to do. And it's sad that that has happened to Aquaman. But I digress. This is not a video about Aquaman. Now, everything that the, Super Friends did to Aquaman, there's a lot of that continuing with not just Aquaman, but other characters in shows like this. It's funny, haha, in the moment, but I see 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years from now, because of things that happen in shows like this, that the characters that ultimately were great and or perfect in their original concept and design just being turned into laughing stocks. Even within this own movie, and I know that's the absolute point of the movie, the Teen Titans themselves are treated, looked at, and viewed as lesser than what they actually are. They're treated as jokes, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that the plot of this movie is for them to grow and show and prove that they are actual heroes. So clearly, that's what, when you're going into this movie, what the story's about. It's the most elementary, basic plot you can come up with. So if you're looking for something mind-blowing and groundbreaking, this is not the movie for you. This is not the superhero movie for you. So stay away from it if that's the case. But if you're looking for just, some, like if it's, picking at your curiosity, you're looking for something just to be able to turn your brain off and just enjoy and maybe just crack up and forget about your worries for an hour and a half, 2 hours, this is the movie for you. There are scenes in this movie where they treat characters really poorly, and I just can't overlook it, guys. And I know it's just made up for laughs and it's no big deal, and can you just take a joke? And yeah, of course, I'm sitting here praising the movie. I liked it, I enjoyed it, but I'm old enough to separate how awesome Aquaman is, and when he's out of water, he's not flopping around like a fish. Okay, it really upset me seeing that scene. Okay, or seeing how the Teen Titans are viewed at, and the way Superman talks to them. Okay, treating them like they're nobodies. Okay, and then just, and Robin twerking. Okay, I mean, it's funny, and I get why kids think it's even funnier than I did, but the ramifications of what could happen because of a popularity of this type of a show is just terrible to think of how it's going to ruin, and it really could ruin characters moving into the future. So I really do want you guys to kind of go out, see it, and see what I'm talking about. And I know the best way to prevent things like this from happening is to not support movies or decisions like this. But I'm just being honest. I had a good time, okay? And I would watch it again. I wouldn't go out and buy it on DVD or anything like that. I would give it a solid 3.5, 4 stars out of 5. I really, really would. Especially for comic book fans who know the difference, who can spot the little pop culture references and who can spot the comic references, and just in the crowd seeing, oh man, seeing this person finally make it into a movie, if you will. Another character that's treated really bad is the Atom. He's treated as someone who's just small, and he gets splattered like a bug, hit in the windshield, and he even at times is kind of laughing at the Titans' misery. And it's so just off-putting as a fan of the character. It was funny, I chuckled, but it's in the back of your mind, you're just like, the Atom is so much more than that. He's so much cooler. I mean, and I know there's definitely difference between Ant-Man and the Atom, but there's also similarities, and they've shown us that the Ant-Man and Wasp, they're awesome-ass characters. They're great, okay? Now, that doesn't mean there's not room for slapstick and comedy, okay? But I think it has to be done with a little more consciousness and a little more tasteful, if you will, than the way this show or this movie did it. Another problem I have with the movie is the Teen Titans, especially Robin, devise a plan. Obviously, the movie is the Titans want to have their own movie to validate themselves as a real hero. In this universe, you're not really viewed upon as a real hero till you've A, done something heroic, B, had a movie made about yourself. Then you've made it. Then you have the respect of your peers. That's kind of what they teach you, that you could be good, do good, and it's just not going to be recognized till you actually have something sustainable to show for it. Kind of a bad message, in my opinion, for kids, but hey, whatever. So there's a scene where the director of all these superhero movies basically tells the Teen Titans and Robin that the only way she would ever devise or contemplate making a movie about the Teen Titans, who are such a joke in this universe, is they would have to be the last heroes on Earth. So what do they decide to do? What does Robin decide to do? He decides to go back in time, spoiler alert, and stop all the heroes from all the tragic events that have made them heroes, essentially stopping and in some cases maybe even killing people, okay? And just preventing all these heroes from becoming heroes. Now, right off the bat, it's clear as day, and he even mentioned it in the movie afterwards, in foresight, without those heroes, all those bad things that they stopped would happen. And the world would be a much worse place to live, if you will. And lo and behold, when they come back from time, that's exactly what happened. So what do they do then? They go, oh, we got to go back and make everything that we stopped from happening happen. So everything corrects itself. Great on you. So essentially, they interfere. They hold, and again, I know it's just for laughs, and I'm looking at it way too serious for something that isn't a serious portrayal of superheroes. But the Teen Titans go, and initially one of the things that they do is they stop the Waynes, if you will, from going down Crime Alley. Okay, and convince them to take another street. Okay. And of course, that saves their life, so Batman never happens. Which in turn would also mean Robin would probably never happen, but hey, whatever. But after deciding they have to fix it all, they literally go back and they, for all intents and purposes, hold Bruce Wayne like off to the side, and then they shove the Waynes down, into Crime Alley, and you see the flashes of lights indicating that they were killed. And I'm just like, I understand that's how it happened. They did get shot, they did get killed, and we've seen it actually in more graphic detail in many other avenues, from comics to movies, okay, even, other TV shows, but they were taken with more seriousness and respect and more with a grain of salt, if you will, than how this was. So in retrospect, Robin would, Batman Bruce would just blame the Titans for holding him back, letting his parents go to die, and it would still alter the whole course. Now, I know I'm really overthinking it here, Okay, and that's just who I am. I'm trying to break it down from the geek side, if you will. But kids are, going to be sitting there, and they are easily influenced. So they're going to look at this, and they're going to see those little inconsistencies, and it's just going to possibly ruin characters into the future. Now, I don't think it's going to ruin Batman, but it's just something I know if I was a parent, and depending on the age of my child, I don't know if I would want them, actually seeing this, the poop jokes, the twerking. I don't know. But I wouldn't, if they found it, I guess, on their own regard, I would support them. I would probably watch it with them, and I wouldn't keep it from them. But this is a show I wouldn't actively go, hey guys, when wanting to introduce my kids into the culture that I love, this is far from the first going, hey, watch this. C-Dubs Jr., check this out. Let's sit and watch it together. No, shows like the original Thundercats, that I would do. Okay, and Batman the Animated Series and things to that nature. X-Men, the 90s cartoon, those I would introduce my children to. And though there may be some violent tendencies in those, they're treated with more respect and more realism to where they're not making it out to be this laughing joke, if you will. But with that being said, again, I enjoyed it. I liked it. Go see it. If you're old enough to decipher the difference, if your children are mature enough, or if you're able to explain those harsh, confusing, wrong interpretations of those characters, take your kids to see this movie. You'll like it. I promise. Again, I give it a pretty good solid 3.5 to 4 stars out of 5. Universe, do yourself a favor, check it out. Let us know in the comments below if you've seen it. This is one of those movies where people are kind of embarrassed to say they've went and seen it, and even more embarrassed to admit that they liked it. Some of these bigger review channels like Jeremy John's Black Nerd, they're being honest. They went out, they saw it, they liked it. But they're also not giving you the detriments and the bad parts and the actual fandom of this culture, the way they perceive some of these things. Not saying that those guys aren't fans of comic books and things of that nature, but they're clearly not as devoted to the culture as some of us here in the universe are. But again, guys, go see the movie. Let us know in the comments below what you guys thought, if you've seen it. Let's see if we can get DPZ to go see this movie, because it's his opinion that's really going to matter more to the universe, because he was so dead set against seeing this film. And I know at the end of the day, he's probably just going to be like, it's just not my thing. But I want to really know if DPZ, if there's anything he would like out of this movie, if he could possibly have somewhat of a good time. So universe, let's get him to go see this movie. And guys, until next time, I'll see you in the universe. Peace. What's up, universe, and welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video, guys. And just as in Teen Titans Go, there is a post-credit scene. And guys, the Teen Titan Go post-credit scene might make the whole movie and whole experience worth it just for the fans of the original show. Don't want to give too much away, but we do get to see them. There is a reason why they haven't been around, and there's a good chance they're coming back. And the art design that they do show is very reminiscent of the show, but it's slightly tweaked. I can kind of tell there's a little bit of a difference, maybe a little bit of a Young Justice feel in a little bit of the animation. But you gotta stick around to the end to see it, guys, and thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. Guys, don't forget to like all of our videos, any video you watch. If you like it, let us know. This is going to help us trend better, help other people find the channel. And as we grow, we're going to be able to give you guys better content, better editing, more videos, because we won't have to be stuck at work all day long, if you will. But guys, thank you again for the love and support. And until next time, we'll see you in the universe. Peace.